When we think of maritime disasters, one name dominates our collective memory: the Titanic. It has become the symbol of overconfidence and catastrophe. April 15, 1912, about 1,500 lives lost. But nearly 50 years before the Titanic sank, an even deadlier disaster occurred right here in the United States, a tragedy so devastating, it remains the worst maritime disaster in American history. This was the steamboat Sultana. On one terrifying night in April of 1865, it became a floating inferno that claimed the lives of over 1,000 people. Most of them were soldiers, men who had survived the brutal American Civil War, only to lose their lives while traveling home. Pause. Before we continue, ask yourself this: how could the deadliest maritime disaster in U.S. history almost disappear from public memory? If you didn't know this story before today, let us know in the comments. So here's the question: if the Sultana was the Titanic of the Mississippi, why have so few people heard of it? The answer is not just about a ship sinking. It is a story shaped by human decisions, difficult circumstances, and tragic timing. Today, we uncover the forgotten story of the Sultana. April 1865. The American Civil War is finally coming to an end. The nation, exhausted and divided, begins to breathe again. Thousands of Union soldiers recently released from Confederate prison camps were gathering in Vicksburg, Mississippi. These men had endured hunger, disease, and months of hardship. Now they wanted only one thing: to return home. Their destinations were states like Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan. The only practical route north was by river. One steamboat stood ready, the Sultana. As you look at this photograph taken on April 26, 1865, take a moment, look at the decks. Does anything feel wrong? The decks are crowded far beyond what seems reasonable. The Sultana was officially registered to carry just over 300 passengers. Yet on this journey, nearly 2,300 people were on board. The men stood shoulder to shoulder, many too weak to even sit. The structure of the ship visibly strained under the weight. Despite the conditions, spirits were high. They believed the war was behind them. Home was finally within reach. None of them knew how fragile the situation truly was. The Sultana was powered by modern tubular boilers, advanced for their time and capable of producing great speed. But these systems required careful maintenance. Even small issues could become deadly under pressure. Before departing Vicksburg, one boiler showed signs of damage. A temporary repair was made so the journey could continue. Pause here and consider this: would you have delayed the trip to ensure safety, or taken the risk to get thousands of men home faster? Tell us what you would have done. At the time, the U.S. government was paying transport vessels based on the number of soldiers carried. This created strong pressure to move as many men as possible, as quickly as possible. Delays meant lost money. Replacement vessels were limited. With repairs considered sufficient, the Sultana began its journey north, carrying far more people than it had ever been designed for. The river was already swollen from spring floods. Conditions were dangerous. The Mississippi River was wide, fast, and cold. Floodwaters increased the current and destabilized the vessel. As the ship rocked, water levels inside the boilers shifted. This caused rapid pressure changes inside the system. At this point, everything depended on timing, and timing was about to run out. Shortly after 2 in the morning on April 27, 1865, 7 miles north of Memphis, Tennessee, the strain became too much. A massive explosion tore through the center of the ship. Steam, fire, and debris shot upward through the packed decks. Many men were killed instantly while they slept. The pilot house was destroyed. The structure collapsed. Flames spread rapidly. Those who survived the blast faced an impossible choice: remain on the burning ship or jump into the freezing river. Many soldiers were already weak from captivity. Some could not swim. Others clung to wreckage or to each other. In the darkness and chaos, hundreds were swept away. The river claimed nearly as many lives as the fire. By morning, the scale of the disaster became clear. Nearly 1,200 people were dead, yet the tragedy did not dominate the nation's attention. Here's the most haunting part: most Americans never heard about it. The reason lies in the date: April 1865. Just days earlier, President Abraham Lincoln had been assassinated. The country was in mourning. His funeral train crossed the nation. Millions lined the tracks to pay their respects. Newspapers were filled with grief, uncertainty, and political fear. Against this backdrop, the Sultana disaster was pushed aside. Small columns, inner pages, then silence. An investigation was conducted, but the nation had already moved on. Today, the Mississippi River flows quietly past Memphis. The wreck of the Sultana lies buried beneath farmland. The river itself changed course long ago. Only a modest memorial marks the site. These men survived the war. They survived prison camps. They came painfully close to home. If you believe stories like this deserve to be remembered, take a moment to like this video. It helps keep forgotten history alive. Their story reminds us that history is not shaped only by famous names, but by ordinary people caught in extraordinary moments. The Sultana was not just a ship. It was a final chapter of the Civil War, written in fire, steam, and silence. If you want more hidden, forgotten, and untold stories from history, subscribe to Trace the Era. We uncover the past so it's never lost again, because they deserve to be remembered.